I was looking back at my YouTube videos and I said to myself, man, I put this hot water heater in here almost 10 years ago. I think it was 9 years ago. I said, I never changed the anode. So I got a new anode, right? And I take the old one out. I'm not even going to change it. This thing's 10 years old. It's in perfect shape. Perfect. It's like brand new, but it's really, really good condition. And let me tell you, the way to get these out is you got to use an impact because, using the straps on the tank, these things are in there tight. I mean, you might be able to do it with the straps, but use the impact. And if you're using impact, don't use a regular socket like this. Use an impact socket because when this hammers, it goes da 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 da. The heavier the socket is, the more hammering effect you have to open it up. A lot of times I found this out years ago just by, I couldn't get something off with a regular socket and I went to the impact. I thought they were just for strength. They are for strength, but it's also for the hammering action. If you're using an impact socket, you pretty much will always get these off and not have a problem with it. But a lot of people don't have impact. So what I did was I ran the air compressor hose through the window. So I got this one all set. And it's already Teflon tape. I don't know how long this is going to last, man. It's like, that's almost 10 years. That's amazing. So who knows? But, I usually use the gym hot water to take a shower. So I don't think I have a lot of hot water pumping through here. I think the more you use the hot water, then the anode is exposed to new water again, and then it's got to work. So I use the gym all the time for showers. And maybe 5-6 times a week I'm using the shower in the gym, maybe 1 or 2 times at home. So that's probably why this thing lasted too. Amazing. This is the hot water heater element. They're pretty easy to remove, but a lot of people don't have. I didn't have one too at the time. 1.5 inch socket, and they sell these ones at like cheap ones that are made for taking off these things, but the cheap sockets might not work. You know what you can use? Just a plain old pair of USA channel locks, because channel locks, believe it or not, they're even stronger than vice grips. So if you put it on this way and go that way like that, because the more you turn them, the tighter these jaws get. I know I've used these for like taking out like stripped out oil drain plugs, and sometimes the vice grips wouldn't get it. These will get it. So to check this, you turn the power off, you take the 2 wires off, you put an ohm meter here. Check between these 2 leads. If it's got infinite resistance, then you know it's bad. It's supposed to have between 10 and 30 ohms. I don't know why this one broke. I turned the hot water off. It wasn't on when the water was off, but it could be just old too, So, the other thing is, these hot water heaters are very, very simple. Like, they got a thermostat. So you have the power on, you check your black power wire to see if it's got power. And also you want to check to see if it's drawing any kind of amps. That means it's actually going through to this. This would be pulling amps, the resistance here. But you check it for power. And if it doesn't have power, you might have a problem with the thermostat, but that's about all there is to it. There's a thermostat, there's this heating elements, and there's an anode in the top for like keeping the corrosion out of the tank, and a drain valve and stuff. It's not too much. As far as like taking out the anode on the top, you could probably use I wouldn't even bother using this breaker bar and the impact. I would use an impact gun, because if you try to use this breaker bar, that tank's going to just spin. You might have to brace it up with some straps. If you got an impact, wrench or impact gun, whatever they call those things, use that. And you always want to use like an impact socket. Like, this would be too big for the thing on the anode. The anodes are either like 1 inch or 1 1/16 or 1 1/8 or something like that. They're smaller than this. But you want to use an impact socket to take out the anode, because if you're using a regular socket, what's going on is it weighs a lot. The socket itself weighs a lot less. So the impact is making like a hammering sound, like da, 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 like when it's trying to take off the socket, the fastener, whatever it is. the bolt or the nut or whatever. In this case, you know, to say the not this, but you wouldn't need it for this. This wouldn't be on that type. But say the anode. Um, you want to have a heavier wall socket because it's heavier. It's because it's making a stronger. And I didn't say that right. It's making it's bigger hammer basically. It's like a heavier hammer. And the fact that the impact is actually hammering when it goes da 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 da, you want this to be heavier, so it's like hitting it with a bigger hammer. And well, you'll find out. I found out. I didn't even notice for some years till like I don't know. I found out about it some decades ago. But first, so many years I didn't even know that. You know, I was grabbing these other regular sockets, and sometimes something wasn't come off. And you put the impact socket on it. You use that with the impact. It's not just for the strength. It's the fact that this thing weighs more, and it's actually hammering a lot harder. And you want to actually get on there straight on. You don't want to really use a swivel with a freaking impact socket either. But just want to throw in a couple other tips. But these come right off with these regular heating elements. They come right off with these channel locks. So you know, you don't need any special tools. You got channel locks and vice grips. You're pretty much covered.